Coming up, Edge offered a role in AEW. Becky Lynch isn't facing Charlotte at WrestleMania. And all the big takeaways from the post-Royal Rumble Raw.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Super Review News. I'm Ollie Davis. And to kick things off, here's the 27th of January 2020 post-Royal Rumble episode of Monday Night Raw. In about 5 minutes, Drew McIntyre opened the show to play everyone's new favourite game. Where's the WrestleMania sign?
Yay!
There it is! He's pointing right at it. And it's like the biggest WrestleMania sign there's ever been. Do not get sat behind that sign. Hot off his Rumble win the previous night, the crowd gave Drew a thunderous ovation. And because he's a baby-facing straight talker, take note Charlotte Flair, he's going to announce who he's challenging at WrestleMania right now. The man he claymored over the top rope, Brock Lesnar. He then celebrated by winning a Claymore party, squashing both Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows in a handicap match. I bet you're so glad you re-signed, good brothers, because WWE totally have loads of plans for you when AJ Styles isn't here. But while McIntyre was celebrating, Lesnar snuck up behind him and hit an F5. MVP showed he's not just around for a night-long nostalgia cameo return at the Rumble, it's actually a week-long nostalgia cameo return for a few matches on Raw. He unfortunately didn't get that much of a reaction and lost to Rey Mysterio here while botching a 619. We're just 69 days away from WrestleMania! 69. Aleister Black squashed a jobber in seconds with a black mass like usual, but then got a microphone and said he's made a mistake waiting for people to knock on his door. We've been telling you that for months. And now he's going to bring the fight to you. Seth Rollins gloated about eliminating both men he was feuding with in the Rumble, Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. So pleased, in fact, him and Buddy Murphy are going to put their tag titles on the line against them now. Joe and Owens accepted, but only after awesomely tricking Rollins into revealing where AOP were, so the Viking Raiders could take them out. This led to a really dramatic match, made even more impressive by the fact it wasn't supposed to be that way at all. Samoa Joe unfortunately picked up a genuine injury early on, thought to be a concussion, and Owens had to improvise going it alone for the rest of the match. Putting the pro in pro wrestler, all three men covered the change in plans perfectly, seamlessly putting on a really dramatic finish, telling the story of KO trying to overcome the numbers, but eventually losing to a Murphy roll-up victory, continuing Buddy's winning streak on joining the Monday Night Messiah. There's more on Joe's injury in the WrestleTalk news that went up earlier today, so give that a watch. Caruso alert! Becky Lynch has now beaten everyone on the roster, and if Charlotte challenges her again, it might not be the first time, but it will be the last. Thankfully, it seems that isn't actually the plan. More on that later. After Humberto Carrillo lost to Seth Rollins, then lost to AJ Styles, then lost to AJ Styles again, and again, and again, and then lost to Andrade, and then lost to Andrade again, and you think any chance of him regaining his momentum is gone? Well, trust in Paul Heyman and the fresh starts of WrestleMania season. Thanks for your support on Patreon, Angry Arbel Zafari. Despite Andrade dominating most of this match and winning by DQ when Zelina Vega broke up a Carrillo pin, Humberto actually got over with a new dimension to his character. He's a badass babyface now. Carrillo hit Andrade's hammerlock DDT on Andrade on the exposed concrete floor to a big pop from the crowd, which I'm sure has absolutely nothing to do with Andrade being suspended for a wellness policy violation just hours afterwards. More on that in the other WrestleTalk news today too. Charlotte Flair teased making her Rumble-winning WrestleMania challenger announcement, but then said she's still thinking about it in a totally heel move despite her being a babyface. I'm so confused. A very good bout with Asuka followed, but just like the Women's Rumble, great match, bad finish. Kairi Sane caused the DQ by breaking up a figure eight with an insane elbow, meaning we got two back-to-back interference DQs in a row. Rawley debuted his new bodyguard, NXT call-up Riddick Moss, meaning he retained the 24/7 title against No Way Jose and won it back from R-Truth after. Liv Morgan actually got one up over Lana. It's a shame it's come too late and this crowd are no longer into the storyline. Or her. Rowan squashed a jobber with no box shenanigans, and after building up his main event promo all night, Old Man Edge made his triumphant return to Raw to an amazing reaction from the crowd. He cut a sincere, genuine, and affecting promo. Damn right I deserve this, he told the crowd, and reaffirmed how wrestlers are artists. He told the story of what if and how that question motivated him to get a second neck surgery, to train to get in the best shape of his life. What if he can come back home and end his career on his terms? It was spine-tingling stuff, and I still don't think my brain has accepted Edge is really truly back. Randy Orton, who Edge eliminated the previous night, came down to show the Viper's softer side. He hugged Edge, thanked him for helping him out in his career, and asked what if they got Rated RKO back together again, to a thunderous babyface reaction, which made the next part all the more devastating. It was a masterful tact for suckering us in, as Orton almost immediately hit an RKO on Edge, which Edge excellently sold by screaming and holding his spinal fused neck. And then those voices got to chattering. Randy hit Edge with a chair and then set up a Pillmanized spot on his neck. The crowd were genuinely screeching and yelping out for him to stop. This was perfect heat, and it actually made Randy relent. He stopped what he was going to do, realizing he had gone too far. Nah, just kidding, it's because he thought of something worse. Orton got a second chair to hit a one-man concerto on Edge's head, the move Edge made famous. It was emotionally and poetically devastating. I know a few people were down on Edge's first feud back, likely being with Orton. I've got to think this was such a good angle. Everyone's now on board. Get it? Because it's a pirate-themed WrestleMania. That was this week's Raw in about 5 minutes. Are you excited for Orton versus Edge, and why? If so or not, let me know in the comments, because I'll be replying from out of nowhere. Oh, I can't say that, it's too soon. And click the eye above my head to let me know what you thought of the show, where you can choose from Rawsome, Core Average, Poor, and Rawful. This was an amazing episode of Raw with an all-time great angle with Edge and Orton. The voyage to WrestleMania has officially begun, and I'm bloody excited for it. This week's Raw is 5 out of 5. It's Rawsome. But Edge nearly joined WWE's biggest rival. Hot tag to Laurie.
Thanks, Ollie. It's time for the news now. And for those of you who may have been like, oh man, Charlotte won the Rumble. I'm just gonna have Becky versus Charlotte at Mania again. It's like the new Sasha Banks versus Charlotte. It's all over the go. Boring. That might not actually be what WWE's planned, because it looks like the poor, hard-done-to Shayna Baszler, which she has never actually been called before, might be the one to face Becky for the Raw Women's title at Pirate Palooza 36. Because Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer said that Baszler versus Lynch was currently on the books for the event, though WWE haven't suggested it's going to happen through the medium of build, by, having Baszler and Becky actually in the same room at the same time, interacting since Survivor Series. Also, you have to take the idea of it being on the books to mean on completely disposable bits of paper written in pencil, much like the scripts of Raw and SmackDown, which are often changed last minute. Or like the Royal Rumble plans themselves, which originally had Roman Reigns and Shayna Baszler down to win, but were reportedly changed earlier in January. And the reason that Meltzer cited for this was that Mania plans had changed. And as the Rumble winner gets an auto title shot, then those winners needed to change. But he also just said that Becky versus Baszler was a thing they wanted to do. So come on, Dave. What is it? What is it, Dave? Speak the truth, man. Now, the change could be because they plan to have Charlotte face SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley at WrestleMania. But Dave also says that this isn't currently planned at this time. Then what is, David? David Meltzer. Well, here's a theory for what they might be doing with Charlotte. Because on last night's Raw, Charlotte Flair came out to declare which title she would be vying for at WrestleMania, but said that she hadn't quite yet made her decision. But then she was confronted by the Kabuki Warriors and ended up in a match with Asuka. Could this mean that an angered and incensed Charlotte will ask for Asuka and Kairi Sane at Mania, partner up, and then become Grand Slam winner herself? It is like the last women's thing that she hasn't done yet. Which would then leave Becky and Baszler wide open to get into it and have that planned WrestleMania match, and leave Bayley also wide open. Who else is Naomi? Mate, it's probably Naomi. I don't know if you saw the really big news from the Rumble, but Santita returned, baby! And also there was some guy called Edge too. What a stupid name. Edge. Now, Edge almost miraculously returned from a 9-year hiatus due to neck injury to put in a stellar showing at the Royal Rumble and then have his head and neck whomped with a chair by Randy Orton on Raw last night. Welcome back. Now, as WrestleVote said on Twitter yesterday, Edge has signed a big money 3-year deal with the company that reportedly calls for him to participate in a few matches per year and multiple WWE TV appearances. If they're anything like last night on Raw, he's not going to survive 3 years. But there was talk last year that he was courting the other side of the fence. Yoo-hoo! Elite boys! I've had the all clear from the doctors. Now, Wrestling Observer noted way back in October that Edge had negotiated a significant contract from WWE by playing them off against AEW around about the time that he was cleared by doctors supposedly in Pittsburgh. Now, WrestleZone and Pro Wrestling Sheet have both since reported that AEW made a major play to bag Edge as a behind-the-scenes agent or producer and an in-ring talent for a handful of matches, which sounds kind of similar to what WWE have him for. So if the choice was kind of similar on both sides, either his loyalty to WWE came through, or they put some serious dosh on the table with an appealing amount of work for Edge too. Or I guess maybe he just didn't want to have to come up with a new nickname. The Rated R Wrestler. But then that would work really good at this year's Mania. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave us a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. And also click the video over there to find out about a WWE star who has been suspended, plus a raft of injuries currently plaguing the roster. I've been El Fakador, and that was Lucha.